All right, just for the record, this is a special meeting of the Board of Estimate and Taxation. And we have an agenda. Basically, there's one item on the agenda. It's a transfer agenda. Just want to indicate for the record that the public hearing on the budget will be on Wednesday, March 24. I believe it's at 6:30. Is that correct? Madam Clerk or Mr. Mayor, I think it's either 6 or 6:30. 6:30. And will that be at the? I guess that's going to be on Zoom. It's not going to be at. It's not going to be live. But so the public hearing is Wednesday the 24th at 6:30, and it has not yet occurred. I guess there's some suggestion. There's been some suggestion that it occurred without the public's input, and that is incorrect. It has not occurred. Okay, so should we have a call of the roll at this point, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Rilling,
Here.
Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Ms. Brown, Chairman Camacho,
Here.
Mr. Frere,
Here.
Mr. Jelleret,
Here.
Mr. Kasimis,
Here.
6 present, you have a quorum.
All right. So we'll jump right into it. There's a transfer item on the agenda, or there's a transfer agenda involving the amount of $150,000 from contingency to cover consulting fees for the LED or Lead Us and Associates to launch the city's new Equity and Justice for All Commission. So who would like to speak on that? Lamont, you have the floor.
Good evening.
Do you need a motion, Ed, or not? No.
Oh, I guess we need a motion to discuss the item. Yeah. Is there a motion?
So moved,
It's been-
Troy.
It's been moved. Okay, Lamont, you've got the floor.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much, Chair, and to the Mayor. Thank you to BET. So I'm here today to share with you the request of $150,000, excuse me. I just ran in the house to get on. But today, the city of Norwalk, about a year ago, when we all watched the tragic death of George Floyd, we rallied together under Mayor Willing's leadership to think through strategies and approaches, how to address issues that our community was bringing before us. And so to facilitate this effort, Mayor Willing recommended the expertise and establishment of consultants to help us through this. And so today, the $150,000 will be to hire a consultant, which is led by us. There was a competitive bidding process over the past 6 months, and the selection panel selected, led by us and associates, to help us through this process. I think overall, what this is for me is that this commitment affirms the city's commitment to strategies and practices that celebrate the wonderful diversity we have, also foster a sense of belonging and community, increase trust and understanding and connectedness and respect among all people from different backgrounds. These issues are real. These issues we have engaged with our community, but the city cannot do this alone, which is why we have submitted for expertise to help us through this. The overarching goal is for this consulting team to help us develop the commission, help us identify the structure of the commission, the procedures of the commission, I help identify the appropriate people on the commission to help Norwalk move stronger. Also, in 1993, the city embarked on a blue ribbon report on race relations, and Mayor Rowland asked my department to relook at this. So there has been some great work done, but 1993 is a long time. And so having this blueprint, the consultants will look at that, identify where we're doing well, but also identify the areas we're not. And we're really talking about ensuring all residents feel that Norwalk is their home, all residents feel that Norwalk is an inclusive place, a safe place to live and thrive for their families. And so if you haven't, I would encourage you to listen to the Community Services and Personnel committee meeting, where that particular committee met the Led by Us and Associates, and we really had a nice Q&A where that committee was able to ask the Led by Us questions around their approach, how they're viewing the work, and also just how they're thinking about engaging our community, because that's the big piece. How do we ensure that all voices are represented, both the voices that are easy to get to, but also the voices that may not be as loud or clear, because we want to ensure all residents feel like they're a part of the process. And so the other thing is, we're really excited to also share that the request is $150,000, but at the press conference under Mrs. Juanita James's leadership, the Fairfield County Community Foundation has partnered with us, and they're making an investment of $50,000. So for the purpose of this approval, I'm asking for $150,000, but then once we receive the $50,000 from the Fairfield County Community Foundation, we will then return the $50,000 back into this particular fund. We're looking forward to this process. We're looking forward to engage our residents, our community, into what we believe to be a really thoughtful and deep process. We'll be working with the Norwalk Public Schools. They actually hired an equity consultant that our group will be participating with them. We'll also be partnering with Norwalk Acts. They're also doing a lot of equity work. So we won't be doing this work in silo. This would be a concerted effort amongst all the groups in the city to really look at Norwalk and identify our strengths, but also address concerns where people feel that their voices are not heard. And we're looking forward to engaging in this process.
Okay. So ultimately, I haven't seen the RFP, but what does the $150,000 cover, and what is the intended result or the mission of this organization? Is it like, if you could be more specific as to what it is that they propose?
Sure. Well, our RFP proposes to help for them to help us design the actual commission with structure, the purpose, the intent of the commission, to participate and engage our community, to make sure we understand community voices. So they will be doing some focus groups. But I don't want to scare the public. They won't be doing a lot of focus groups, but also level setting what we know, because there's a lot of research and data already in other groups, but also make it more current. They will also help us think through, our relationship or our community relationship with the police. So they'll be gauging some strategic conversations and making some recommendations and some solutions. So the $150,000 will cover the consulting fee for 1 year.
Is it anticipated that there will be more than 1 year required of this help?
Well, we're not sure. It depends. We really, the process right now is looking at it for 1 year. I think we'll have to revisit that, maybe in the third quarter, determine, do we need them, or is everything that has been set and laid out, can the city now take it and move forward? But so that's kind of to be determined if we would need them for another solid year.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, I had one.
Go ahead, Jim.
All right, Mr. Fair.
Lamond, could you tell me, I have two questions really. First is, what is going to be the measure of success of this? If we're paying $150,000, how do we know we're going to be successful? How we're going to get our money's worth out of this? And then second of all, could you give me some background on, or give us some background on the consultant and what they've done, what other cities they've run? Is this the biggest job they've ever had, or is this in the middle, or just some background on them?
Sure. So I'm just trying to do both at the same time. Do my screen. Give me one moment, because I just lost it. Where did it go? Where did it go? So we have articulated the actual deliverables, and that is to develop the actual commission that It also includes developing a community engagement strategy to deal with concerns from the police. And then also the other piece is looking at the Blue Ribbon Report on Race Relations. There are a slew of activities and tasks that have been identified. What we're asking them to do is review that plan and refresh it and revitalize it for us to help us identify what are the other strategies that we should be looking to. One of the deliverables also is around looking internally with the city government. What are practices and policies that we should be looking at in terms of solutions for diversifying if that's warranted. But what we're really doing is asking them to kind of taking an independent look on one, how we are from a diversity perspective and an inclusionary perspective internally. How number two would be what is the community's perception on diversity and inclusion? Do they feel respected when they come to City Hall? Do they feel respected or feel that their voice is going to be heard? Are there ways for them to share? Are there ways to be participatory? And then the other piece is just building a common language and solutions around supporting the Equity and Justice for All Commission. To your second question, led by us, and I don't know what you have. So I don't know if you actually have their full proposal, but it was a competitive bidding process, and the selection committee made up of 7 community members. They were by far the top organization. They have municipal experience. Right now, they're doing some work in Waterbury collectively. So on the committee, there's a former principal, there's a former a legal consultant that worked for a very highly reputable organization, a community strategist, a media consultant, a community engagement specialist. So the committee felt that the array of talent and expertise that this group lend itself would definitely be a good fit for Norwalk, for a city our size, and understanding, the nuances of working in a municipality, working in a diverse community such as ours. And so for those reasons, and they understand they have a model of their practices, we're very satisfying to the committee members for some of those reasons, and many others, by far the led by us and associates. And one of the things that we were excited to hear, that one of their top strategists was a former Norwalk resident. Her parents still live in Norwalk, so she has a sense of Norwalk even most recently. And so for many of those reasons, the committee felt by far that led by us would do us well and serve our community well.
Troy, I believe you have your hand up.
Yes, Jimmy.
Oh, Jim, are you done?
I just wanted, you mentioned Waterbury. Was there any other municipalities that they've been in?
Yes,
you might want to throw out?
Sure. They also have a strong presence in the city of Bridgeport as well. And then collectively, each of them in their own expertise has a variety of experience, New Haven and Hartford as well.
Okay, good, thanks.
Lamont, this is Troy. Is it a Connecticut-based company?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. And they've been around for how long?
Well, the actual organization for 3 years, but the group, a combination of over 30 years in this expertise.
And you had 2, you said you sent out an RFP and you had 2 responses. Is that what you said?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. So we made it to the top 2, and they were by far the choice in terms of the actual interview process. We interviewed 2 out of the applicants, out of a total of 9 out of the applicants.
9 responses. You had 9 responses.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good.
Thank you.
Ed?
Yeah, and Lamont, this is more a question for Henry than for you. I fully support the work we need to do, but
Thank
Henry,
you.
I'm not familiar enough with our accounting rules as a city. As this work is just kicking off and will continue for a 12-month period, do our financial rules allow us to accrue the expense so that we can prepay it, as it were, out of this year's contingency versus having to plan for it next year?
In government accounting, we tend to record expenses when the cash is spent. Our plan is we're moving it out of contingency now, putting it into an account reserved for it, and whatever doesn't get spent this year, we would roll it over into next year's budget.
Okay, thank you. Just given some of the things we have to discuss in our next meeting, I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Mr. Kasimis?
Hey, Lamont, quick question. I think it's a great idea what you're doing. And, as a church, I would like to see how we can help as well. But you made mention of giving people a voice. So my question is this more like an ombudsman position, or the commission? Does it carry any weight, or is it like a complaint department? And I hate to say it that way.
No, that's a great question. I think that's going to be the real work, where this independent consulting group will inform us based on their assessment of our city, based on our current government structure, based on what they have heard, based on what is real. Because, one of the things, we want to manage people's expectations. So they're going to do, they're going to survey who we are and what we are and make some recommendations around based on what they've heard and learned. This is what they see as the best way to introduce this commission concept. And I want to say that it's a concept because we don't know what the end is going to be until they do their work and then make some recommendations. So that all remains to be seen. But I think what's important is the commitment is we want to hear from the people. We believe they are the right folks that can do that well and help us synthesize and develop some strategies for the city to respond and react to then determine what is possible and doable within our structure.
Lamont, hi, this is
Thank you.
Sherry. So I have a question. So assuming that these commission identifies, say, 3 to 5 things that they think that need to be implemented, who will make the determination about whether that will happen and what will happen?
Well, part of the process is that we will have a complete communication loop with the administration, my office, and I report directly to the mayor as they make recommendations. That will be done on a collaborative effort around this is what they're recommending. And we would have those conversations of what we can implement, institute, whether it's in phases, whether, low hanging fruit, we can actually introduce some of those strategies now. Maybe it's long term. We don't know if any of these strategies may require budgetary recommendations, but I think what's important is these are our desire is to have real solutions, real commitment, and real action, and the city is committed to taking this seriously.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Lamont, I just have two just marginally related questions. The 1993 plan, how much of that was actually put into place that you know of?
Oh boy, Mayor.
Well, you can
We
also
talk
ask,
about this all the time.
you can also ask Miss McCready Brown, because she and I both served
Okay.
on that Blue Ribbon Commission. And one of the reasons that this even became more critical for me is I picked up that report after I was elected mayor. And there's some pretty good things in there, but not many of the things had been implemented. And I want to make sure that this does not become that plan, that report that sits on the shelf gathering dust. I always said that, when something happens, and in this case, the George Floyd murder, we will sit there, we'll have a meeting, everybody will talk around the table, and we'll break up, and then we won't do anything anymore. And we feel that we've done what we had to do. It's kind of a feel-good meeting, I used to call them. And then we walk away having really accomplished nothing. And I think it's time that we have in the city of Norwalk a group of people that will help others have a voice, identify where we have problems. I think we have a really good city here, and I'm very proud of the city. And I'm sure that we do a lot of things really, really well. But I'm not always interested in hearing the things we've done well. We kind of know that already. I'm interested in hearing where we can do things better and where we can make things better for all people who live in the city, who work in the city, who come to the city. I don't think you need to you don't need to look too far to see what's happening around the country in the past year. Things have gotten chaotic. I know some of it may be due to the frustrations of the pandemic and the isolation that people feel, but there are serious problems around race relations, number one, serious problems with hate and bigotry that I don't think we've ever seen the likes of in quite some time. I'm not going to go into details because it's still under investigation, but we had an incident in Norwalk yesterday that, was totally based on race. And a person who is of Asian persuasion was pretty much bullied by someone who was just walking by. And we need to make sure that, we can't make things better if we're not willing to talk about it. And if we're not willing to take a really honest look at ourselves and be prepared to hear some bad news, because we're not perfect. There's a lot of things we can do better. And this group, the Led by Us group, they have a very, very experienced staff. I was very pleased with I met with them, and I was very pleased with what I heard and the level of expertise that they have and what they can bring to the table. Now, they're going to help us get started. And to answer Jim's question, I would hope that we don't have to go beyond a year with them, that we're up and running. But we also may want to keep them kind of on a smaller retainer fee to help us if we find ourselves struggling. But that we want to form our committee, which I would like to see made a permanent committee, and identify different areas of things that we could be doing. So I'm excited about this. It's often very hard to bring in somebody to tell you what you need to do better. But that's the only way you can improve sometimes, by bringing in people from with a different set of eyes and take a look at us. We kind of get caught up in the way we do things. But I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be a really good thing for the city of Norwalk. And I would hope that other cities would maybe take a look at what we're doing and look at this as a best practice and kind of replicate what we're trying to do.
Fair enough. Any other questions? Okay. There's a motion. There's a motion to consider, I guess. All in favor of the transfer signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, so the motion carries and the transfer item has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you, Lamont.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you, Lamont. Good job.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Mayor.
much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, so do we have to start another Zoom for the next meeting? Or are we going right into the next meeting?
No, I think
believe
we're
so,
going to
Henry,
stay on
right?
this meeting. I'm just going to stop the recording once you adjourn this meeting, and then
Oh.
we can
All right.
start the next one.
All right, so so this meeting, all in favor of adjourning this meeting? Aye.
Aye.
All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.